Hello everyone, my name is Ahmed, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how you can create this simple tic-tac-toe game using JavaScript. As you can see, if I won the game, it says that player X won, and I can reload the page again. And if it's a tie, it says that it's a tie. Just wait. Oh no. Let's play again. Okay, and it's a tie. Let's get going. So first of all, let me close this project, and in my project folder I'm gonna create mk there a folder called YouTube tic-tac-toe, and I'm gonna seed into it, and I'm gonna touch or create index.html, again touch index.js, and again touch CSS. Let's open up the folder in another window. Let's close the prior window, and as you can see, I've got three files. One is for the CSS, the other one is for markup, and the other is the logic of our app, and the extension is JS. So first of all, let's go to our HTML and create a doc type, create the boilerplate for an HTML document, and in here I'm gonna say tic-tac-toe. I'm gonna format the document, and in here I'm gonna create a div with the ID of board, and here I'm gonna create 9 divs, because in our board we have 9 tiles. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and in all of them I'm gonna give them a data of index, so we can use these divs later on. So the first one is 1, the second one is 2. So I'm gonna go to my CSS. Let's close the JS so we have more space, and I'm gonna select board element with ID board, and I'm gonna add the display grid, and I'm also gonna open up my browser so we can see what's going on. Let's go to localhost. First of all, we've got to go to our HTML and open it with live server. If you haven't got this extension, go ahead and install it, so as it comes very handy. So open up with live server. As you can see, it's opened up, but there's nothing for us to see. Let's close this window, go back to our index.html, go to the CSS and select our body and type background color black. Save it. Nothing happened. So I forgot to include the CSS href index.css. Control S. As you can see, our whole background turned into black. So the next step is for us to go ahead and add some data so we can see what happens, so we can see the style. So select all the tiles and write something, Control S, and go back here and type color equals indigo. As you can see, we can see some things in the browser. So, and I'm also gonna change the font family to sans serif. Control S, looks better. And in here I'm gonna type font size 2 EM. It looks better. And on the next line, I'm gonna, after display grid, I'm gonna say grid template columns, and I'm gonna give each 100 pixels as the width of the column. 100 pixels. Control S. And I'm gonna do the same for the rows. So Control C and Control V, and I'm gonna type rows. Control S. As you can see, it looks 1,000 times better. And I want to see where the board container is, so I'm going to give it a background color of red so I can see what's really going on. Go ahead to the board, to the body, and add the display flakes so we can center this red container in the middle. Display flakes, justify content, center, align items, center. Control S, looks better, but that's it. I think that's good. I'm gonna remove the background color of red because it doesn't look good at all. And I'm gonna go to our markup again, and I'm gonna add another class, I'm gonna add the class of tile. Control S and go to the CSS and type tile. Again, display flakes, because we want to center the numbers in each tile. Align items, center, justify content, again center. And that's it. Go back to markup and remove everything that we've added so far, and Control S. We've got nothing now, but we're gonna, now the next step is to add the borders. I'm gonna type Control Z, Control S, go to the style sheet and type create a class selector of border right, border right 1, no, that's too narrow, 5, let's start there, pixels, solid, and yellow green. And also create another one, border left, and do the same, sorry, border button, and do the same, just give it a border bottom of 5 pixel, solid, and again yellow green. Format the document, and I'm gonna add this class to my first tile so we can have a border. What happened? Sorry. Again, Control V, Control S. That was a mistake on my side. And now we've got ourselves a border, but we also need a bottom border. So I'm gonna copy this, and again Control V, but instead of right I'm gonna type bottom. Control S. That's it. Let's go to the next tile and give it the same classes, so the first row will have its complete borders. It's looking better. And the last one, we're gonna only give tile 3 a border bottom. It's looking better. I'm gonna do the same. And now we've got ourselves a grid, and it's looking good, but instead of 5 pixels I'm gonna give it 3 maybe, because that to me is too thick. Control S, that's it. And our next step is to go to JS and continue from there. So close everything, and we're gonna need just the HTML and index.js. Go here, and at the bottom of our body add our script tag. We're gonna add our script tag, type script, and rel src is index.js. And to test that, we're going to type console.log hello. Go back to the browser, press F12, and as you can see, hello has been printed out, so everything is working fine. Remove everything, and so first of all, I'm going to create const player x with capital letters equals to x, a capital X, and Control C. I'm gonna paste it down, and I'm going to type player O, capital O, and I'm gonna create another one. I'm gonna type let's of turn equals to, and we're gonna set player X as the first player to start playing. On the next line, I'm gonna type const tiles equals document dot query. I'm gonna type document dot query selector all, select all the elements with the ID of tile. I'm gonna console that down so we can make sure that everything is working fine. Yes, as you can see, we've selected all our divs with the class of title. Let's get back to VS Code, and I'm also gonna add an event listener to tiles dot for each tile dot add event listener of click. So we're gonna listen to the clicks of each tile so we can do what we want to with them, and when it's clicked, when one of them is clicked, we're gonna call the function name handle click, and I'm gonna create handle click in here. Let's close that down. Control V, handle click is a function, and I'm gonna type again, I use console.log a lot so I can test each step of the program and see what's going on. Console.log events. Let's see what happens. Sorry, something has gone wrong. Let me find the bug. Okay everybody, I found the problem. The problem was that we don't need parentheses. I use parentheses because my main framework of choice is Angular, and you have to declare functions with a pair of parentheses, so that's what I did. And as you can see, if we click somewhere, we can see the event and the element that has been clicked. So now let's go to HTML and empty all our tiles so we don't have one in there, as we are not going to need it. Control S, save it, and now with each click we want to fill the elements with either an X or an O. So as we've tested it, it's logging everything, so let's remove that and create a constant, declare constant, and with the name of tile equals event.target, and in the next line we're going to create a condition and say if turn, which is player X by default, is equal to player x, we're gonna say tile dot inner, where is it, inner text equals x. Control S. Let's see what happens. It's working. So instead of hard coding it, I'm gonna say equals to player x, and we're gonna switch turn. We're gonna switch it to player O, and the turn equals to player O. And if it's otherwise, we can copy and paste these two lines and say if it's not the turn of player X, inner text, the tile that's been clicked, is going to be equal to player O, and the turn is going to change to player X. Let's see what happens. X O X O X O. It's working pretty fine, but as you can see, it's not the X and O's are not readable that well. So I'm going to go back to CSS, and I'm going to add some font weights, 600. Let's see what happens. It looks better. That's it. That's good enough for me. And close that down. And what's the next step? If you look at it, if I go and hover on tile, it doesn't look like a hand. It looks like some text is about to be selected. So I'm gonna go ahead and fix that. I'm gonna go and in tile, I'm gonna say cursor point. It's working fine. And the other bug is that if I go ahead and click this tile again, it's gonna change to O again, to X, to O, to X, and that's a bug. Let's fix it. Okay, so how are we going to handle this? Let's create another condition. If tile dot target, if tile dot inner text does not equal to nothing, if then go ahead. So I'm gonna say if it's not empty, return. So the rest of the lines are not going to be processed. Let's see. As you can see, it's not working anymore. So it says if the inner text is not empty, then return. And after return, the other lines are just like comments. They're not going to be processed, or they're not going to be processed as if they have been commented. And as you can see, it's working pretty fine. But what I want to do is when I hover over them, I want them to present O or X in a faded fashion. So I'm gonna go to CSS, and in here I'm gonna create two separate classes with the name xHover when it's hovered, and I'm gonna create a pseudo class of after, and in here I'm gonna create the content. And if you know what after is, it's just adding stuff, HTML stuff, text in our CSS. So with after pseudo selector, we have the ability to add text to our HTML through CSS, and CSS has been pretty amazing. It's just I heard that it's added state management, and I think now CSS can do almost everything. And that's a content X, and I'm gonna test it in the markup. If I go here and add x hover, and so I can test it and see what happens. As you can see, if I hover, an x is going to appear on the first tile, but it's too bright. I'm gonna fade it down a bit. So in here again, in our markup, I'm gonna say opacity is going to be 20, sorry, is going to be 02. Let's see that again. Sorry, it's not working. 1, it's working. 0, 1, it's not working. Why is that? As you can see, it was too transparent, so we couldn't see that. So it's working better. Now I'm gonna create another class called yHover, paste it down here, sorry, oHover, and the content is going to be O. And that's it. And let's close everything and go to our HTML and remove the xhover that we added. So we're gonna add it dynamically through our JS file. Go to index.js, and after each click we're gonna handle adding xhover or oHover to our tile, so we can see what's the next tile, what's next tile's value is going to be, whether it'll be O or whether it'll be X. So I'm gonna call a function called handle hover, set hover, or whatever, set hover class. And let's go down 2 lines and function and first of all we're going to remove all the classes with the names xhover and yhover from our div. So I'm going to say tiles dot for each tile we're going to remove tile dot class list dot remove. So I'm not gonna misspell that, so I'm gonna copy and paste xhover, Control V, and I'm gonna also remove oHover. That'll do. And in the next line we're gonna create a const class name, and we're gonna figure out whether to give all the tiles xhover or oHover using backtick and $, sorry, and say turn hover. So if the turn is X, it's gonna be, the class name is going to be xhover, or whether it's so, it's gonna be oHover. But the problem is it's capital X and the other one is capital O. So I'm gonna go to CSS, and I'm gonna change it to xhover and oHover with a capital O. And also I'm gonna change here that we remove xhover, so I'm gonna turn it to capital and switch it to a capital O. And where am I? So we've created the constant class name, and I'm gonna loop through all the tiles. So I'm gonna say tiles that for each tile I'm gonna add a class of tile dot class list dot add class name. As simple as that. And let's see what happened. If I click here, as you can see, I've got everything. I know what the next turn is, and the next one becomes. There's a problem. If I start the game over and hover, as you can see, I've got no indicator of whose turn is it. So instead of just calling set hover class here, I can also call it in the beginning of application execution. So I'm going to say copy and paste it, and that's it. Control S. It's fixed now. It's looking better. And the next step, if I click here and if I hover it, as you can see, it's not looking good. There's an X, there's also an O. So I'm gonna handle that through my JS file. In our set hover class, I'm not going to set the class name to the tile that's filled. So in here, in our loop, to add the class, I'm gonna add curly braces so we can have multiple lines. Enter, and I'm gonna say if tile dot inner text does not, if it equals empty, if it's empty, then we're gonna add the class of tile, and I'm gonna move it up one line. Let's see what happens. As you can see, if I hover, there is no indicator, but the neighbors all have the indication that the next one is O. Again, X, O, X, O, everything is working fine. There's one, and that's it. The next problem that we're gonna tackle is the fact that if we've got a winner, there's no indication, and there's nothing happens. So I'm gonna go to my CSS, and I'm gonna add 3 classes. So first of all, I'm gonna get to my markup and create a div with the ID of strike, and it's the class that will be responsible for the line that goes through. If we've got all X's, it's going to indicate that we've X, player X is 1 or O, and there are 6 strikes that 6, 7, 8 strikes that we're gonna create in our CSS. One is the first row, the second row, the third row, the first column, the second column right here, the third one, and we've got 2 diagonals, one from here and the other one from here, from left to right. So we're going to create all that. First of all, I'm going to select strike. I'm going to say background color red. Sorry, dark red is better. So I'm going to get background color red, and I'm going to position it absolute. Control S, but and A. Let's see where it is. As you can see, it's here. And what if I give it a width of, sorry, what happened? The width of 100%, and save it. As you can see, it's overflown from the container, and the container is the board. For that to prevent that from happening, I'm gonna go ahead and type position relative. So this absolute position is relative to the container board that has the position of relative. Save it. It's fixed. So go ahead and remove this, and I'm going to create some classes to give each one a strike row. If row 1 is the winner, I'm going to give it a width of something, and I'm going to copy and paste everything from the project that I've created, so no time will be wasted. Okay, now we've got a class for row 1, row 2, row 3. column 1, column 2, column 3, and diagonal 2. As you can see, all of them are positioned absolutely, and they've got a left, they've got a width, and they've got a height, except struck diagonal that we've transformed them to be 45 degrees. So they're not horizontal completely or vertical, they're diagonal from one side to the other. Let's go ahead and remove A here, and let's go back to our JS file. And at the end, we're going to check for the winner of the game. Let's remove empty spaces because I don't like them. And I'm going to say check winner. Copy, Control-V, paste, and before filling the body of check winner, I'm going to say create a constant called winning combinations. And what are they? We're going to go ahead and create an array and create an object. The first combo is tile number 1, tile number 2, and tile number 3. So we're going to say 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to say a class, give it a class of, and its first row, open up CSS. The first row has a class struct row 1. Control C, and in here easily paste it down. Close CSS. Again, go to the next line, just copy and paste it. 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 combinations, and we've got 3 more for the columns, and we've got 2 diagonal. The first one is struct row 1. Struct row 2 is tile number 4, 5, and 6. And the next one is 7, 8, 9, and it's got the class of row 3. The next one is the first column, and it's got the tiles consist of tile number 1, tile number 4, and tile number 7. So we're going to type that 1, 4, and 7. The next one 2, 5, and 8. And the next one 3, 6, 9. Two, and it's not a column, it's a row. It's not a row, it's a column. And the next one, diagonal. I'm going to copy it so I don't make any mistakes. I'm going to toggle. I've got a sync scroll plugin extension, so I'm not going to need this. Control C, Control V, paste, number 2, and the last 2 is number 1, 5, 9, 1, 5, 9, and the next one is 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7, and that's it. These are the winning combinations, and we're gonna check them in check winner function, and I'm gonna loop through all the winning combinations. Const winning combination, I'm gonna remove s of winning combinations, and I'm gonna log it so we know that everything is working. Winning combination. Control S, click here, it's working. And I'm gonna create two constants and assign each value, I mean combo, const combo equals something and the class. So I'm gonna say const combo equals winning combination dot combo, copy paste, class equals class. But instead of doing that, what's the problem? Class, for example. But instead of doing that, I can use something called object destructuring, and I can write the two above lines in just one line. Const combine class equals to winning combination. Remove these two lines, and there's a problem. We cannot use name class, so it's a reserved name in JavaScript, so I'm going to say class name. I'm going to copy and paste it here. And for the winner function, we've got to have access to all the board's tiles data. So let's go to the top of our JS file and declare a variable called board state and make it an array of 9 tiles. And on the next line, I'm gonna fill board states with null, so all of them are null. And on the click function, I'm gonna fill it with the corresponding tile. So I'm gonna say border state, and for the border state, I'm gonna create a constant here, and I'm gonna call it tile number, and I'm gonna fetch tile dot data set dot data dot index, sorry, index. If I go back to my HTML, I've got data and it's called index. So before we go any further, I'm gonna console log the new variable, the new constant, to make sure that everything's working. I've got an error here, index.js 19. What's wrong with that? Oh yes, that's right. Let's click here. It's 4, it's 5, it's 7, everything's working. So let's uncomment this border state, and the index will be tile number minus 1, because it's an index and the tile number starts from 1, but the indexing of an array starts from number 0, so we're gonna minus 1 digit from it. Border state of this equals player x, and we're gonna do the same for this one, but the only difference is that it's going to be player row. And that's it. And at the end, let's print everything out to just make sure that everything's working just fine. Border state, let's see what happens. It's working. The first one is X and the rest is null. What about this one? The first one is X, the fifth one is O, and the rest are null. So remove the line, go to check winner, and in here we can say we can create three constants. The first one is for tile value 1, the second tile, and so forth. So I'm going to say const value tile value 1 equals border state and the index will be combo. Yes, combo -1, because again here it's 1, but an array actually starts from number 0. So we're going to select that tile value border state combo 1. Again, do the same. Value number 2 I think I made a mistake. Combo is also an array, so I'm going to say the first one. It means I'm selecting this one. The first one -1 is 0. And again, in this one, I'm going to select the second value, which means I'm going to type index 1, and also the third value is going to be combo of index 2, and the value will be 3. And let's just console log everything and see if things work. Tile 1, tile 2, tile 3. Let's see what happened. The first one is X, null, and null. The first one is X, the second one null, and the third one null. And X, so X. Things are working fine. So we're going to create a new constant. I'm going to remove this line, and the constant will be called condition. And I'm going to check whether tile 1 does not equal null, and tile 1 is equal to tile 2 again, and tile 1 equals to tile 3. So it says it mustn't be empty, and tile 1 and tile 2 and also tile 3, all of them must be the same. And if our condition is met, then we're gonna add the strike through class to the strike div that we created. So in here we've got a strike. We're gonna add some classes to see what will happen. And if the conditions are met, we're gonna add the classes like a strike 1, row 2, or row 3 to this step. First of all, we've got to have access to the strike in here, so I'm gonna say const strike equals document dot query. Sorry, I'm gonna type get element by ID, and the ID is strike. And in our check winner function, I'm going to type if condition isn't met, strike dot class list dot add, and I'm going to use this class name. I'm going to add it here. Oopsie, I've got a mistake here. Let's see what happens. This one, this one, this one. Boom. Again. This one, this one, this one, and this one. Boom. Again. This one, boom. Things are working pretty well. And oh, everything's working fine. And the next thing we gotta do is to disable the rest of the table to be filled. As you can see, it's not working, and there was another bug because it got filled, and there was another winner. But before that, we're gonna create a condition for type. If no, that's not good. خب یه مرتضی اینجا آخرش چیزه هیچی علکی بود دیدم. Next step is to stop the clicking listener on the tiles when the game is over, when someone has won. If I click here, as you can see, there's a bug. I can click. I can continue clicking forever. So if we go to our HTML, I'm gonna go ahead and create another div with the ID of a game over area, and I'm gonna go ahead and style it in the CSS. Background color of blue. I'm not gonna waste your time. I'm gonna copy and paste the CSS from somewhere else. Game over area and Control S, and as you can see, we've got a blue container, but they're stacked side by side, but we want them to be on top of each other. So if we go to body, it's got display flex, but the direction of flex is side by side. I'm gonna change it to flex direction to column. It's better. And there's no gap between the board and the game over area, so I'm gonna add gap. We've given it a gap of 3 rem, and I'm also gonna give the body a padding so it's not up against the top of the page. Padding again 3 rem. It's better. But the gap must be a bit better, so it's better. And it's better. And the game over area must be hidden, so I'm gonna create a class of hidden and display not. Again, in here, visible display block, and by default our game area will be hidden, so I'm gonna give it the class of hidden. It's hidden now, and close this, and I say if condition is met, yes, add a struct through, and I'm also gonna make the game over area visible. I'm gonna select it here, const game over area equals dot get elements by ID, and it is game over area. And if the condition is met, game over area dot classless dot remove hidden, and we're gonna add game over area. No, that's not. that classless equals visible. So everything will be, all the classes will be removed and the only class will be visible. Let's see what happened. Click, 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 click. It's visible now. And let's create a function. And I'm gonna call it game over screen. And in here, I'm gonna copy this and paste it here and move it in the function. And I'm also gonna get the winner, and the winner is turn. Yes, the turn. I'm gonna make game over invisible, and I'm gonna add a text to it. Inner text equals the winner is turn. Let's see how it's working. The winner is, oh, there's a problem. So instead of passing along turn, I can pass along tile value. Let's see. The winner is O again. What's wrong? Okay, I found the bug. The bug was that I was still printing out turn. So I'm gonna go here and say print out winner. And as you can see, it's working. It's not working. Game over area. Game over area. I changed it to small letter. It's work. The winner is X. That's it. The next step is to stop this from being clickable. So I'm gonna go here and handle click, remove this line, and I'm gonna say if game over area is visible dot inner text does not equal empty, then return. What's wrong? Oh, I made a mistake here. So if it's not empty, return. As you can see, it's not clickable anymore. It means all the lines after this line will not be executed, or not executed. That's it. What's the next step? It's working pretty well. Is there anything you can add? And I think that's it. That's the tic-tac-toe in JavaScript. And the code is available on GitHub. You can check it in the description of the video. And again, thank you so much for watching the video.